Welcome back to the 3x5 Live
podcast.
On this podcast, we talk about mindset, minimalism. Ooh, we talked about that once. I
We
threw that
did.
in
That
there.
was a good one. That was a new one. Wellness, well-being,
Productivity,
self-care, gratitude.
Last week, we jammed on standards and reframing goals and how they relate to your standards and how to kind of reframe that through words.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the word of standard compared to just habits and goals.
We did. I hope that you understood what we were talking about.
Jessie wasn't sold on that one.
I wasn't sold on that one, but it's all right.
And this week, we are talking a little bit about the weekly review. So we did the weekly review in episode 26. If you ever follow our Instagram, we have lots of stories with one of our favorites, Bryan Akins, sharing his weekly review. I've shared my weekly review on there and how we use the cards to kind of formulate this productivity system at the end of the week that kind of caps it off and then sets up your following week.
Right.
And recently we started doing the weekly review family style. So do you want to kind of dive into that a little, or do you want me to take it?
It's up to you. I mean, you can start us off if you want to.
So how this happens, how we do it in our house is we want to create a team. We want our family to be a team. That's one of our core values that Jessie reminded me of as we were kind of brainstorming through this. And so we have just a week calendar. So just a Monday through Sunday. Our kids are, to put this in context, are 6 and 8, and we'll run down individually. So I will write down all that I'm doing that week in front of everybody. Okay, what does Bryan have this week? Or what does Dad have this week? All right, what does our son Nash, what does he have this week? And we write down on Thursday, he has karate or swim lessons on Tuesday. And then Jessie does the same, and our daughter Hadley does the same. And what it does is it kind of highlights each person and shows them what they have coming up. And then the biggest thing it does is it incorporates teamwork. So last week, Jessie ran a nature camp.
I did.
For 41 kids between the ages of 4 and 8.
4 and 9.
Or 4 and 9. Try that on for size in 90-degree weather.
Oh, it was a hot one, guys.
Yes. So when we did last week's, game planning, I knew it's just all right, who needs help? Well, Jessie's going to need help this week with meals. I should come home from work a little early and help out because I'm going to need to pick up the slack because she's going to be coming back from this camp completely spent from managing 41 kids in 90-degree weather. And our kids are going to be tired. They're going to be moody. So Dad really needs to step up this week. Mm-hmm. Or we'll look at Nash has soccer camp next week. He's going to be coming home tired. Maybe Hadley will do his part of the dishes for him. Mm-hmm. Things like that. Setting
the table or the chores that we have set. The idea of teamwork for our kids, like Bryan said, one of our core values as a family, which was another podcast we talked about too, is McFarland's are helpers. And so it's important for us to look at us as one unit. And I think as parents, we tend to just go we're like a bulldozer. At work, you have your teams and your functions and your processes, and then you get home and we have our roles. And sometimes we forget to include the kids with that. And I think homeschooling for us has been a gift because we're home a little more than we would be if our kids are at school. So they watch me, they're home with me when I'm doing the laundry, and they're home with me when I'm emptying the dishwasher, and they're home with me when I'm straightening up the house and trying to clean. And so allowing them to be part of the everyday process of managing a home and managing a place where they also call home, they are part of that system. And so the family planning thing, the transparency, another podcast, we talked about how it's really helpful for kids to know what to expect and be totally transparent about where our energies lie and what's kind of going on. So because we were at camp and we had all of that going on last week, the kids were able to recognize where I was coming from so that I was it's hard for them. They were part of camp, and I was not their mom last week at camp. I was their counselor and the person who was leading the camp. And just them knowing that was coming up, I think allowed them to, be just safe, supported, and secure in what was about to happen. And that's the same thing for Hadley. Every night before bed, we'll say, what are we doing tomorrow? And this has been a great way for us to be oh, well, first we are going to work through our language arts and our math, and then we're going to have to do this. And Nash has, his soccer camp, so we have to drive him here. And I think people feel better. All humans feel better when there is a plan in place that they can kind of stand behind.
Yeah. And as our kids age, and your kids might be in this season, if they have their big science fair project coming up next week that's due, how can you have that on the calendar? Okay, so and so has their science fair project due next Thursday. How can we support her as a team, as a family, and maybe we'll pick up some of her chores, or just having that recognition of everybody supported.
And this doesn't mean, because this is what the trap that we fall into. I'm usually responsible for our family calendar. I had been in the past where I just write everything down for everybody and I know what's on the calendar, but Bryan and I haven't necessarily debriefed about it, or I haven't talked about it with the kids. And so the key here is the sit down on a Sunday or whatever day works for you and your family to talk through all of these big eggs that are coming up for that week that everybody needs to be aware of. And the percentage, it reminded me when you were talking about, like, you knew I was going to come home drained, but Brene Brown talks about with relationships, like when you walk in the door, like it would be really helpful if there was like a percentage sign above your head that said, I'm walking in the door right now and I'm at 25%. And so when Bryan walks in the door, he sees my 25%, and then he knows, because we're a team, that he has to bring 75% to help us be 100% at capacity. And so same thing, this idea with, now you have, like in our household, there's 4 humans who are entering in this percentage. And so how, as a sibling, can Hadley help with Nash when his percentage is lower because his energy is being divided in multiple different areas? So that idea of including them in that process and being transparent through all of it, I think can really teach them a life skill that they can then bring into other relationships and situations where they're working with teams and groups of people.
Yep. And I also, if you don't have kids, I think this can be very impactful just as couples as well.
Sure.
If you're just looking and like, hey, honey, I'm going to have a late night here, or I'm traveling here, or vice versa, just being on the same page of, hey, I know he's going to be a little tired, so I'm not going to be resentful if he doesn't feel like doing the dishes, or she doesn't feel like doing the dishes, whatever that is, because you talked about it on Sunday and you game planned who's going to pick up that extra slack for the week. And it should go back and forth. It shouldn't be one-sided every week.
Your travel has picked up a lot too. So that's like a really, really important thing, because it allows me to, if that's on the calendar and I know that it's coming up, it allows me to plan for, okay, what am I going to do for meals? If I needed help or support with pickup, how can I like enlist somebody's support? Or I don't know, it's just been really helpful for our stress and like the loads that we carry as individuals, because it doesn't feel so lonely. It feels like you have like this group of people who's there to support you.
And I think in a marriage, I think one of the biggest traps we can all fall into is keeping score. Like, oh, I'm doing the dishes every night and you're not. Those types of things, instead of just doing them and not trying to keep score. I know I've been guilty of that in the past.
And then you start to resent, right? Because it's like builds up and you get like resentful of the fact that, right, I love that. And I think everybody's guilty of the keeping score thing. I do it a lot where I'm like, I've been with the kids all day, and like Bri walks in the door and there's this like expectation that he needs to like drop everything and like play with the kids. And like I almost like feel myself shutting down. And that was a problem, because even though my jobs have shifted and I'm, balancing this role as their teacher, I mean, I chose that and I'm very grateful for that. But getting rid of that mental block where it's like, okay, well, I'm done at 5:30. I'm not done at 5:30. It's just, we kind of shift things around. And so just being open with that. And we've had dialogue about what that can look like and how we can work together to kind of get over that hump.
Yep, exactly. So, I mean, this is something that's been newer to our family. We thought it was really impactful because we want to create a team. We want to create helpers, like Jessie said, knowing that we're there to support each other as a family unit, and instilling that in our kids while they're young. So we're interested to see how this morphs and expands over the coming years.
And just like a quick aside, if you're looking, like, obviously you could do this on any type of calendar whatsoever. It could be on the 3x5 cards that you guys want to use as a family. But something that Bryan had gotten for us, I think it was like served an Instagram ad. I don't know if you're on YouTube, you can see it's called Our Family Plan Calendar. It's just like this big giant calendar that has the days of the week. It also has like a word of the week. It has a prayer list, a grateful list, chores and to-dos, like a grocery list, our menus for the week. So it has like this all-encompassing kind of like overview, I would say, like a bird's eye view of what the week is going to look like. The menu plan, like we have actually been doing a meal subscription from Purple Carrot. So 3 of our meals like we can kind of put them in there so that if, the kid's tennis lesson goes late, Bryan knows, okay, well, we were making the tacos tonight from the kid. So he can take the kid out and begin making the dinner. And so it just, I don't know, it sets us up for success. And I feel like so far it's been pretty impactful for us. Yeah.
And we got this calendar a long time ago. We didn't really use it that much. And now that we've had this new way that we're looking at our Sunday review, or our Sunday team planning, it's come back alive. Or
like I would fill it out and I would hang it up on the bulletin board in the kitchen, and I don't think anybody looked at it.
Yeah, instead of doing it as a collective group.
Right, so that still, it didn't serve the purpose of like that family communication. So blocking that time was the missing key.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's what we got. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out. We'd love to do a deeper dive into this, but just something that we thought might be helpful as you go into the busy season of, I don't want to say it too soon, but the school year starting in the fall and all the schedules with sports and stuff. Like, it can be really, really helpful to get on the same page.
Definitely. So thank you guys. If you haven't subscribed, please do give us a 5-star review. That helps out the podcast a ton. Subscribe on YouTube if you haven't as well. Until next week.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
We are all